Let's see what time is it. Sound check. Hey, Matt, Alan, how about a sound check? You guys hear me okay? Watching Gary. Hi. Gary with a lot of R's. Watching Jeremy, Larry. Hey, it's good seeing you guys on here. Tech Talk Tuesday. Oh, hey, Roger, Les. Sorry I missed your call today, my friend. We're still all good, man. I just missed the call. It was White. Oh, Ray Gunn, Kimber. Hey, look, I'm so thankful you guys are watching. Got some good stuff to talk about today. I wanted to tell you all that I'm sitting on the floor in the front office, Indian style. I got my shark socks on because, you know, God loves sharks too, you know. But somebody said to me today, you must be in a good mood. You got funny socks on. I said, no, I wear funny socks every day. Every time I look at my shoes, it makes me laugh sometimes. Well, not every time. It makes me laugh. But hey, look, I wanted to tell you all, thank you all for tuning in. We're going to do John and Tony. We're going to talk a little bit about tolerances, engine tolerances. I had a really great exercise in tolerances today in my own tolerance ability. We are in quarantine here. We're open every day. Ron, Randall, me, Monica, Maggie, we're working every day. And we have a lot of business, and we're very, very thankful for it. But the shop is closed. The doors are locked. The FedEx man drops off outside the door. The UPS man, the USPS drops off outdoors. People bring their motorcycles and drop off. And we do almost everything by phone or email or messenger or Instagram now, which is crazy how it's probably going to be. But one day when we get all healed up and the America that we used to know comes back out, we'll be doing some things differently, of course, but we will still be building hot rod Harleys, and we'll still be entertaining you folks that love the same thing. Jennifer and Ron, I'm so thankful. Jackie, Les Stemick. I know, hey, when we do social media stuff, we try to pick out something to go in the back, and I know you can click on some app and get you some fake background, but hey, I've got some pretty good backdrops here. But I wanted to share with you the reason it looks like I'm so short is because I'm sitting on the floor, and I'm okay sitting on the floor. I ran my feet so hard today that I had to sit down. But anyway, them Wallies aren't social distancing. Yeah, but they've already been tested, and they've already expelled whatever they've got. All they do now is just remind me of all the work and money and time that went into them. Hey, Dana, David, Sam, great seeing you guys. I got a caliper today, and this is not a brake caliper. This is a vernier caliper, and it's digital for us old dudes. And I have my favorite calculator. Got big buttons, and I call it my AARP calculator. It's for old folks. But I know that's backwards because people tell me all the time, George, lay your phone on its side, you'll have better pictures. But when you do Facebook Live and you lay it on its side, the next thing you know is we're all doing this. But it doesn't do it on regular videos, and it doesn't do it on regular photos, but when you're Facebook Live, it does not want you to be like this. So I'm gonna let it be skinny and tall, because one day I wanna be skinny and tall. Not really, I'm just kidding. I'm happy with what the good Lord gave me. But what I wanted to talk about is the bore size versus room. There's a lot of guys that I read the internet at night, and I look at all the stuff people post up. Hey, John and David and Mike and Daryl, wow, big names. Anyway, I see the stuff that guys are selling. They've got the 131 kits for the Milwaukee 8. They've got the 117 tire shredders for the 110 Screaming Eagles twin cams. They also have 110 kits to go on the 96 and the 103 twin cams. And we're not a big fan of those ones that give you the most cubic inches. We back off on the bore size and go down a little bit, and what we lose in cubic inches, we gain in ring seal and power. And I'm gonna give you an example. Here is a Milwaukee 8 cylinder, okay? This is a 4.5 bore, and it's got this big sleeve in it, okay? Look how big that sleeve is. And look how much room it has to the dowel pin. Look how much room it has to the stud. And on this side, Look how much room there is to the dowel pins and the head bolts. Look at this, how thick this sleeve is. And this cylinder is big. They made the Milwaukee 8s from Harley-Davidson. They made up for the things they did wrong on the little baby twin cams with the small bolt pattern. The head bolts are all close together, so you can only put a little bit of sleeve in it. So then you've got, oh, I gotta go get it. I hate bagging on another product, but I'm gonna get up and go get it. Hang on. I'm back. Y'all didn't leave me, did you? Nope, thank goodness. Stay there. I know it's a 30-second delay, so don't leave just because I was gone. All right, here's the biggest twin cam with stock head bolt pattern you can get. See this right here, stock dowel pin location, stock head bolt location. And this is the bore. It's 4 1/4 bore. There's no room for a head gasket right here. So people tell me, says, O-ring it, do this, do that. That's not the problem. The problem is this side. There's no substance or substantial material to hold the cylinders round or the rings in place. So when someone brings us a 131, which is a, oh, what is that? That's a S&S 4.625 crank, 4 5/8 crank with a 4 1/4 bore. That gives you a really big engine for a twin cam with stock cases. But here is an S&S cylinder for a stock head bolt pattern. Here's the dowel pin. It's in the stock location. Look at how much head gasket room there is between the bore and the dowel pin. Look how much room there is between the head bolt and the cylinder bore. And on this side, there's room for a gasket. Also, the cylinder is still big in diameter, OD. The outside diameter is really big, but the inside diameter is reduced from 4 1/4 to 4.135, okay? A 4.135 cuts that big old 131 down to, 124, 125 cubic inches. So you're going to lose 6 cubic inches. Now these engines, let's look at the handy dandy calculator. All right, I'm gonna turn it on here if I can, and I'm gonna try and make this not be backwards, but I'm gonna read it to you anyway. Let's see, the cylinders, if we have a 124 and we make 1.2 horsepower per cubic inch times 1.2 horsepower per cubic inch, that's 148 horsepower. I know that's backwards, trust me. So 148 horsepower with 1.2 cubic inches on a 124, all right? So let's make it a 131. 131 times 1.2 cubic inches equals 157, okay? So that says it picked up 9 horsepower, but here's the problem. It doesn't pick up 9 horsepower because we lose ring seal. We lose ring seal. There's a lot of things that are good about a big bore. A big bore unshrouds the valves and lets more air in and out of the engine by unshrouding the valves by not putting a tight bore on it. But you've got to have substantial cylinder wall thickness to stay round. V8 guys, you guys racing cars, V8s, they have Siamese bores, some of them, where the actual bores touch each other, and on a 4.84 bore spacing big block Chevy, for instance, and you put a big 4.600 bore in it, they're almost back to back, and there's barely any room in there for the head gasket between the bores. And I know I'm talking a little out of school right here, but I wanted y'all to know what I'm seeing is there's no way to cool between those cylinders. The Harleys, we have one cylinder by itself for the front, and we have one cylinder by itself for the back, and we can get air all the way around, so that's nice. But you still got to have some cylinder wall clearance. Remember back in the day, guys, racing the cars, I remember we used to sonic check all the blocks. That was a little tool we used to go down in there and try and see how thick the cylinders were. And it was really important to us because we would shop we would shop the boneyard for blocks. That's the junkyard where they put salvage cars. I don't know if anybody knows what a boneyard is anymore, but we used to shop the boneyards for blocks, and we would take them down to the machine shop and we would sonic check them so we could find the ones that had the most integrity in the cylinder walls. And the reason we wanted so much integrity was so we could keep the bore round and we could keep the rings sealed up. That was very important then, and it's still more important today, because nowadays, y'all, we have cylinder heads that flow like crazy. We have these big valve, 2-valve Harley heads. We have these big valve, 4-valve Harley heads that I'm gonna talk about. And it doesn't matter how much the head flows if it goes by the rings and goes by the pistons, because your cylinder walls are doing this. When you can grab a cylinder, one of these thin wall cylinders, and you can put a dial bore gauge in here, and you can squeeze it with both hands and squeeze it like this and move the dial bore gauge, I'm telling you, it's not gonna hold up. You want substance there. Like, we like some substantial. This one here, this is made out of centrifugally spun ductile iron. This is a really nice high quality sleeve. It's thick. It's for a 124, and you can't squeeze it by hand to make it go out around. I want to move this in real close to the camera and see if you can see that the sleeve is even bigger up inside the aluminum. Maybe you can see that. The sleeve is bigger up inside the aluminum case here, and it's stepped down to fit into how big we can bore out a stock case Harley bolt pattern factory Harley to make big cubic inches. But just because you can go online and go on your phone and dial up a company that sells a 4 1/4 bore for your twin cam, that doesn't mean you need it. That doesn't mean it'll work great just because it's for sale. Listen, here's where we're at right now with our technology and our cell phones and all these products for sale. As it's for sale, it's got to be good, because the name of the company is awesome. And if you'll do a little research and look, and I'm not going to call them out, but there are companies that sell big bore kits that are too big to work, but they sell great because the customer doesn't know that it won't be great at the end of the day, but the customer knows that it's the biggest they can buy. And if this company sells it, it's got to be awesome. Now, if you go back and look at other companies that are even bigger, they don't sell that kit. They don't sell a 4 1/4 bore for a twin cam with a stock head bolt pattern, because there's no room for it, man. Let me get you a 124. Here's a 124. This is, my opinion, this is as big as we can go because of the dowel pin location and the head bolts. That's big. That's a 4.135 bore. That's the biggest we'll fit. Let me tell you about the Milwaukee 8. The new stuff, 2017, 18, 19, 2020. This is a stock head bolt pattern. This is so much bigger here and here and here. This is 4 1/2 bore, and I'm not even running out of head gasket room. This is 4 1/2 bore, and I still got thickness for my sleeves. They built this thing to make big cubic inches. This right here, this is a 140 cubic inch engine with stock cylinders and stock head castings. Now, here's a great example. If you look close, you can see the scribe line for the bore. You see that little itty bitty scribe line right in here? Look how far away from it is to the dial pins and the drain back holes and the head bolts. I know, I'm struggling with it. Can y'all see that? This right here will handle substantial bore size because of how far apart the head bolts are. Car guys, Pro Mod racers, Pro Mod car racers, they're running a 5.3 bore space block. That means that the block is longer. It means it's wider. It doesn't mean that it has a 5.3 bore. It means that the center to center between the cylinders is 5.3. Whereas a Pro Stock car, the 500 inch stuff, they're only 4.9 by rule. 4.9 inches bore to center. And the Pro Mod big cars now, where they have the mountain motor stuff and those guys with the 900 cubic inch and 1,000 cubic inch V8s, they're running a 5.3 center to center, so they can put a 5 inch bore, 2 of them. On a Pro Stock car with a 4.9 bore space, they can only put in 4.75, 4.72 or 4.73 and still have room for a head gasket between the bores. And they also have enough cylinder wall thickness to keep the bore round where the rings go. Now, this is an S&S. This one here is a B3 head. Okay, can you see that? All right, this B3 head came off a 143 S&S engine. Twin cam, y'all, 2 valves per cylinder. Look how far apart the head bolts are. Look, it's way out there. That's called a 4 3/8 bore, 4 3/8 bolt pattern, 4 3/8 bolt pattern, 4.375. But we made this block, we put a 4.4, 4.47, 4.44 bore with twin cams. The only way we can do it is by using S&S cases that have the cylinder studs moved outward, so that the dowel pins are moved outward, so that we can get a bigger cylinder, bigger sleeves, so we can get better ring seal with big cubic inches. It's not possible with stock cases. So back to me sounding like I'm stuck on one subject. I get frustrated with all the guys that want to put bigger than a 124, 125 in a stock Harley case. The head bolts are all too close together, all right? So when somebody brings a 131 or a 127, 128 twin cam with stock cases or the stock head bolt pattern, and they want us to fix it where it quits blowing oil out of the breathers, it quits blowing oil out of their air cleaner, quits blowing oil out of the crankcase breathers, they want it to quit leaking oil around the base gaskets and around the rocker boxes, and they want it to quit blowing head gaskets. Got to get rid of this show, man. These have to go. Look at the room between that dowel pin and the bore. Yeah, there's room for a piece of paper, but here's the problem. We're trying to contain 1,000 PSI inside of this to the head, 800 to 1,000 PSI. And that means that you gotta have a stainless ring in between this dowel pin and this bore in order to seal it. And when you've got the bore that big, here's what you get. You get more cubic inches than anybody else, but you lose a lot of power by the rings and by the bore. Don't waste your cylinder head work. Don't waste all the money you've spent on your cylinder heads to get the big valves and the big port work and the big flow, and put it on a thin cylinder with head bolts too close together, and you can't contain the pressure. Milwaukee 8s, here's another one. Big flow, big valves. The 131 kit that's for sale, that if you don't have to bore the cases, it's not only the head bolt pattern. Harley's selling a really nice 131 kit now, but the head bolt studs are in the same place, but the cases are really small. I think the cases were bored out to 4.420, the cases. 4-inch, 420 thou hole in the case. So they put the biggest sleeve they can in there and be able to mail order it to a dealer or mail order it to a customer and make the spigot of the cylinder go down in the stock case. Right here, okay? Problem is this will only be 4.410 OD, and then you're gonna shove a 4.310 bore in it to make the 131. I'm gonna say it again where maybe you can understand. The outside diameter of the sleeve is 4.410. The ID, where the piston goes, is 4.310. That's 100 thou divided by 2, where it's 50 thou per side. That's a spark plug gap. That's small like this. There's no substance to hold it round. Guess what else? I don't know how they do it. God bless y'all Harley guys, man. Y'all warranty that thing. You warranty that engine with that little baby thin cylinder wall. A 131 kit is okay for a Milwaukee 8, but in my opinion, you need to get big sleeves put in it, and you need to get the cases bored so that we can put a nice substantial cylinder in it with a nice substantial thick cylinder wall and bore it and hone it with torque plates where the cylinder is preloaded to the diameters and to the shapes and sizes that you're honing it to, so your rings can stay round under pressure. Okay, back to the the different size machines, okay? When you have, what do you have? You have a twin cam or a Milwaukee 8? Let's do the Harleys right now, the big ones, okay? What they call the big twin, from 99 up, that's all of them. The 99s to 05 or 06 came with 88-inch engines, and they have little sleeves and they have little cases bored out, but they have the same bolt pattern, same head bolt pattern as this 131. So when you do a little 3.9 bore in this configuration, you've got a lot of room here, you got a lot of substance, you got a bigger cylinder wall here, and you can contain the pressure. Think about it this, if the engine's really little, like 88 cubic inches, you can get away with a little bit thinner cylinder wall, but if you jack that engine from 88 inches all the way up to 130 inches, you can't get away with that same cylinder wall. Well, us working on these engines for all these years got us in the mood that a 40 thou or 50 thou thick cylinder wall was okay because of the 88s, because of the 95-inch engines, because of the 96 engines, and because of the 103s and the 110s. We think we can get away with that. So when you buy a 124 kit from S&S or from Star, you have to bore the cases out, because in order to get the engine to live, you got to put a bigger sleeve in it. So we have to bore the cases out. How big can you bore it out? Well, till you can put a gasket on it. Thank you, Ben. If you're not containing your ring seal and you're containing the pressure above the ring, then you're wasting horsepower and you're wasting money. So that's another day. The 99 to 05 or 06 88s. Then they went to the 96. They put a little bit stroke in it. Went up from, like, I think it's a 4-inch stroke to 4 1/4 or something like that, and made them a little bit bigger. And then they came up with the next size bigger bore and put more stroke in them and made the 103. Well, the 103 is really cool because it comes with a nice thick cylinder. The 96 comes with a nice thick cylinder so that we can bore those out, and we can make a 96-inch twin cam all the way to 107. My competition, my competitors sell a 110 kit. So they beat me by 3 cubic inches, but we make 10 more horsepower because we contain the pressure created by 107 inches and outrun the 110. Even though the engine's smaller, it still makes more power. Now when we do the Milwaukee 8s, you can buy a new 107. Thank you, do it right the first time. You can buy a new 107 and put a set of Screaming Eagle cylinders on it with a 4.3 350 sleeve and bore it out to 4.185 and have a 120, 121. And if you put the 4.5 stroker crank that comes in the 114s and the 117s, I know it sounds like I'm just throwing numbers out there, but that will end up making you a 124 that will live with stock bored cases. When I say live, that means if we built you a 124 Thrasher 2 to go in your Milwaukee 8, you could drive it cross country and back and it would still be perfect because we can contain the cylinder ring seal. I see we're just a little bit out, getting close out of time, but there was several people asking me some great questions. I wanted to say that we're all praying for Jock, who's Steve's crew chief guy. He's sick. He's in the hospital in Birmingham, and I'm friends with all those guys, and everybody pray for him to pull out. He lost his mama yesterday to the virus, and Jock's on a ventilator, and he's not doing really well. So if we'll all pray together, we have enough people here watching that we can pray. And then also remember Sean Gann, Blake, his mom and his friends and his family and his kids. Blake has kids. We lost Blake. Excuse me. We lost Sean, his son. Blake, his daddy, and I remember Sean bragging on his daddy all the time. And y'all pray for them to find peace in Sean's gone now, and he's if he was in pain or wasn't in pain, I don't know, but that's not for me to decide. But anyway, pray for his family. We're still open. We're doing great here at Star Racing, Star Power. I see some guys doing the prayers. Thank y'all. And we're still doing social distancing here. We're still being careful. We're doing work. I kind of ran out of what I wanted to say. For Hogs Gone Wild, listen to y'all. Harley Davidson drag racing is growing. We're getting more and more participation. I know that we're all kind of staying home right now or working away from the racetrack a little bit, and testing tunes are coming back, and there's a few races coming off, and really support those guys. But look, when we go, let's set an example by giving everybody their own personal space. And it's not so we don't get it is so we don't take the virus from somebody else and don't even get sick and bring it to someone we love that is susceptible to the virus. So remember, that's the goal. And I understand, I talk to people every day that have no idea if this is real or not because they don't know anybody, never heard anybody that has it. But look, where we live right here, we see it, we know them, we bury them, they live here, they are dying here, and our frontline workers, the first responders and the people in the hospitals and the doctor's offices and everybody, the personal care people, they're really struggling, and they need our prayers too. I know this is tech talk, and that's technical to me about how that's all working. But thank y'all so much for clicking in and following, and I will do better next time on being a little bit more prepared, but we had a really crazy day. We had some unexpected opportunities come up and unexpected situations that we dealt with, and that was us. I was talking about our tolerance. I was talking about cylinder head and base gasket tolerance and ring tolerance. Well, we had good exercises on our own tolerance. Hey, Mike, love you too, my brother. Ben, Clayton, thank y'all. I am so blessed for you guys to watch and follow this. This is number 42, I think. That's 42 weeks in a row on a Tuesday we've been doing this. Oh, let me say one last thing about it. When I post Tech Talk Tuesday is coming at 6 o'clock, whatever Facebook is doing, they look at that and they turn it around and they don't put it up on the news feed because they think I'm trying to get something for free. Well, I might put a commercial in here and I might brag on our product a little bit, but I'm not trying to make this something I'm getting for free. I'm trying to offer advice. I'm trying to share 40 years of motorcycle drag racing and engine building knowledge that didn't always come from everything going right. I blew up a lot of stuff. I blew up a lot more than most people. And the reason that I think I did is because I wasn't afraid to try it, even when I didn't understand it. So when I understand it, I'm trying to learn from it. And now at my age, I'm 65, and I would like to share this information with you. So please keep tuning in. And if you notice, it looks like a riddle when I put up my Tech Talk Tuesday ad that I do up. That's what they hate. They hate an ad because Facebook's free, right? And they hate ads. But I have to disguise it now, like technical discussion on day after Monday. I have to scramble it so whoever's watching and whoever's reading or whatever they're looking at, they don't exit out. I'm just trying to give you guys a reminder that I'm going to come on and I'm going to talk about stuff we love. And it's not always about Harleys, y'all. It's about engines. And if you take what I told you and what I shared with you about the cylinder head bore space, and the same thing goes for the regular GSs, the regular Kawasaki Z1s, and even our bikes we have now. We're head bolt limited, and the valves are bore limited. And I'm gonna cut it off at that. Thank y'all for watching. May God bless. And thank God we live in America, because we know some people that aren't, and they don't, they want to be here. And if they don't, I'm so thankful they love where they are, and I'd love for them to stay where they are. But we love where we are, and I want to tell y'all that. Praise God. Thank y'all.